Jaya Gokuldham Vallabha Giridharadhari Jaya Gokuldham Vallabha Giridharadhari Yashodanandana Jaganandana Yamuna Tira Varachari Yamuna Tira Varachari Jaya Radha Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। अष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Reading from first canto, second chapter, text number 30. सायेवेदं ससर्जाग्रे भगवान् आत्ममायया षट् असद्रूपया चासौ गुणमाया गुणो विभुः। स एवेदं ससर्जाग्रे भगवान् आत्ममायया गुणमय्या गुणो विभुः। स एवेदं ससर्जाग्रे भगवान् आत्ममायया सदसद्रूपया चासो गुणमय्या गुणो विभुः। The devotees can listen. Saedam sasarjagre Word to word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Saha, that, Eva, certainly, Idam, this, Sasarja, created, Agre, before, Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, Atma Mayaya, by his personal potency, Sat, the cause, Asat, the effect, Rupaya, by forms, Cha, and Asau, the same Lord, Gunamaya, in the modes of material nature, Agunaha, transcendental, Vibhu, the absolute. In the beginning of the material creation, the absolute personality of Godhead Vasudev, in his transcendental position, created the energies of cause and effect by his own internal energy. Purport: the position of the Lord is always transcendental because the causal and effectual energies required for the creation of the material world were also created by him. He is unaffected, therefore, by the qualities of the material modes. His existence, form, activities, and paraphernalia all existed before the material creation. He is all spiritual and has nothing to do with the qualities of the material world, which are qualitatively distinct from the spiritual qualities of the Lord. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsa Namaha Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतिसे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगे राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे Hare Krishna. I would like to seek the blessings of all the assembled devotees so that I can render this service for my self-purification. So, Srila Prabhupada, when he went to the West, he has only 40 rupees with him, very insignificant amount. But what he had, which is more than significant, was Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, in 3 volumes that he had printed. With a lot of hard work and struggle, he got those, a trunk full of books, and those books are carrying an information which Srila Prabhupada has a conviction that it is, what to talk of 40 rupees, it is more, no money in this world can buy this. So this information that we read in Srimad Bhagavatam is priceless, is beyond any wealth that can. Therefore, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, "Idam tute guhyatamam pravakshyamanusuyave jnana vijnana sahitam." So he says this is the most confidential knowledge that I am imparting you. And how can the confidential knowledge is so freely available in internet and so many other sources? That goes to show it is confidential because the subject matter is not a dead theory, it's a living conscious personality. God himself has come in the form of the holy Srimad Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada is convinced that this information about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as we are reading in the translation, that He is the cause of material creation, and by His energies He is creating Srishti, Sthiti, Pralay, everything is happening through the agency, through the energies of Krishna. So this information is priceless, and Prabhupada is carrying this information for the entire world, so that everybody comes to know the ultimate cause of all causes, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. That Brahma Samhita verse is that Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradi Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. So in the translation it is written that absolute personality of Godhead in his transcendental position created energies of cause and effect by his own internal energy. So cause and effect. So every effect has some cause and some mechanism that connects the cause with the effect. Just like scientists, they are trying to discover the mechanism. When the apple falls, Newton identified that phenomena and tried to discover, and he came up with the mechanism of gravitational theory. It is the pull of gravitation that is making the apple fall. So they consider gravitational So gravitational theory is not the cause for the fall of apple, or gravity is not the ultimate, it is the mechanism. So difference between scriptures and science is that science is mistaking the mechanism to be the ultimate cause, but science, scriptures are taking us one step back. But what is causing all these causes? So we understand from scriptures that it is Anantasis who is empowering the planets, their capacity to hold things, or gravitation ultimately comes from Sankarshan, who is giving the power to do Akarshan. So this is the limited understanding. Like when a batsman hits the ball and the ball reaches the boundary, with the mechanism we can find out projectile motions. The law of physics can help us find out the height of the ball, maximum height the ball will travel, maximum range. But what is the batsman think? What the batsman is thinking, the machine cannot detect that. From the modern technological gadgets they are putting in the playground, they make a cartoon image. When the batsman hit the ball, a graph is plotted. Here, this is how the trajectory of the ball is. This is the ground. But that machine cannot say what the batsman is thinking. Similarly, this material world has many ongoing automated things. The trees are living oxygen and we are living carbon dioxide. For us, oxygen is food, and for the trees, they are taking carbon dioxide, and this is such a beautiful cycle. So, this entire process is studied and they make this theory that is a natural cycle existing. But what is the cause of this? The energies of Krishna, the Prakriti, the nature, it's enacting all these things. And Bhagavatam is taking us one step back. Who is causing this Prakriti to work? That is God, that is Krishna. So, in the form of, for Krishna, everything is Atma Maya, his own potency. But for all of us, these potencies take different format. It can act as Mahamaya or it can act as Yogmaya. You know, the journey from Mathura to Vrindavan, Akrura was having devotional thoughts. And in one of the thoughts, he is thinking that how the same Lord who has created all these living entities, through his internal potency, is reminding that how Krishna is omnipresent, is present in everything. This world is not separate from God. And with the help of his own Mahamaya, he is making people forget himself, how this world is separate from God. And he is wondering how beautiful this wonderful Lord is. And those living entities who take shelter of this internal potency, they can find this oneness with this world, oneness of this world with Krishna, how this world is not different from Krishna. They can feel this. But on the other hand, the living entities who are struggling with their senses, their life and intelligence to somehow gratify their senses, they are bewildered and they are entangled in the cycle of birth and death and are suffering because of just one mistake, because of seeing everything separate from God. When things are seen in connection with God, those things are properly used, or in other words, harmony is attained. When we see ourselves as instrument, Krishna says that verse, Nimittamat Bhava Sarvesachi. Arjuna, become my instrument. So he's telling Arjuna to become instrument. That doesn't mean that someone has a choice not to become an instrument. We are already instruments either for Maya or for Krishna, and Maya is making us indirectly instrument of Krishna. So Krishna is requesting, become my direct instrument. So we do not have a choice to not be an instrument. We are instruments either of our either the modes prakriti kriyamanane gunai karmani sarvasa ahankar vimudatma karta aham in iti manyate. When we are in ignorance, we think ourselves separate from nature, separate, I mean, we think that I am the doer. But Bhagavad Gita says no, the modes are doer. And then Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam they are telling further, the modes are under God. Maya adhyakshena prakriti. The prakriti is under my adhyakshata. It is I am monitoring them. They are subject to my control. So when that is forgotten, that is basically acting directly under and that indirectly under Krishna and directly Mahamaya. So Srimad Bhagavatam in this sloka 1.2.30, Sutta Goswami has started his answers to the 6 questions of the sages. So one of the question was describe the adventurous pastimes of the Lord, and 1.1.17 and 1.1.18, these two slokas. In 17, Jiva Goswami says that when in this verse they are asking about the pastimes of the Lord, they are referring to the pastimes in relation to the creation. That means the Purusha avatars. The Purusha avatars are Karanadakshay Vishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and Shirodakshay Vishnu. So they are doing the Sarga, primary creation, and after Brahma comes, the secondary creation happens. So the 18 number sloka, Jiva Goswami says that that verse is asking about Krishna's Leela avatars and pastimes, and therefore the third chapter will be telling in detail so many incarnation avatars of Krishna. And at the end, Sutta Goswami will conclude, Ete chams kalha pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan. That these are all avatars, but Krishna is the source of all of them. He is a samam bonam. So many commentators say that the Srimad Bhagavatam actually begins from third canto. There is this verse. In second canto, 10th chapter, first verse, Atra sargo visargascha sthanam poshanam rutayah manvantareshanu katha nirodho muktir ashraya. So in this verse, the 10 subject matters of Srimad Bhagavatam is spoken by Sukhdev Goswami to King Parikshit. He says that Srimad Bhagavatam explains 10 subject matters throughout all its cantos. First is Sarga. Sarga means primary creation. Second is Visarga. Visarga means secondary creation. Primary creation, secondary creation. Primary creation means the creation of all the elements and the Brahmandas. Within the Brahmanda, then Garbhodakshay comes, and till the creation is done by Garbhodakshay Vishnu, that is called primary creation. Secondary creation means what Brahma creates, the living entities when he is creating. So Sarga, Visarga, Sthana, the cosmic order or planetary system. That is the third subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Fourth is Poshana, how Lord is protecting the devotees from the different types of miseries and dangers. Uti means desires or creative impulses. That includes the pastimes of Daksha Prajapati, he is having such desires, and many other things. Manvantara, different ranges of Manu. Throughout Bhagavatam you will find the different, especially in 8th and 9th canto, so many Manvantars are described, because 10th canto begins with the current Manvantar, Vivashwan. So before that, all the Manvantar's story and genealogy, family lineage, they have been described. Then Ishanu Katha, narrations of the Lord and the devotees, that is the 7th subject matter. 8th is Nirodha, destruction, dissolution, pralaya. 9 is Mukti, we get this in 11, 12 cantos about liberation. And 10th is shelter, Ashray Tattva, Ashray, supreme shelter. So each of them, so few commentators they say that these 10 things Sukhdev Goswami is introducing in the last chapter of second canto. That means actually Bhagavatam will begin from third canto. But our acharyas say, like Srila Jiva Goswami, he says that actually these 10 subjects matter are all pervading. They are present in every single canto, with few cantos prominently talking about a particular subject matter. Like for example, in the first canto, there are so many descriptions of this. Today's current verse is related to Sarga, that Krishna is the source of his causal and energies that create cause and effect in this world. This is related to Sarga. So like that Jiva Goswami says, all the cantos are very, very important. One cannot say, of course, the first two cantos can be called as introduction, but they cannot be said that Bhagavatam begins from third canto. Bhagavatam begins from very first canto itself. So Srila Jiva Goswami has very nicely established the authorities of Puranas, especially Srimad Bhagavatam, in his writings. He explains very logically that why scriptures are important. For that, he establishes the point that in the last class we were hearing this Vedanta Sutra verse that says that through Nyaya we cannot establish we cannot always establish the truth. Therefore, with Nyaya, once we have accepted, or with logic, once we have accepted Vedas, but that doesn't guarantee that whatever Vedas will have will always be supported by logic, because Vedas have things that are beyond logic also. So logic may not always, because if always logic has to support, then logic is more powerful than the scriptures. So Vedas are themselves the topmost authority, and for that Srila Prabhupada has given that example of cow's stool is pure and other animal stool, it is contaminated. So Vedas are established in this way as the supreme authority. Srila Jiva Goswami does that. And after that he establishes in the Veda, Srimad Bhagavatam is very, very most authentic. And for that he says that Vedas and Itihasas and Puranas. So for the people of Kali Yuga especially, Itihas and Puranas are even more important than the Vedic literatures. Why? He says three reasons. First, the Vedic texts are very difficult to understand. They are very difficult to understand. It is said there is, first of all, one has to know Sanskrit. And knowing Sanskrit and knowing Vedic Sanskrit, it's totally two different things. We hear the example of that sage who was trying to do the yagya for creating a demon who will kill Indra. But he ended up chanting the sloka in such a way that he spoke, whatever he spoke, that literally meant that I want to create a demon who will kill Indra. But because he did mistake in pronunciation, he created a demon who was supposed to be killed by Indra. So this entire thing became different. Why? Because this is the intricacy and complications of Vedas. So let me just find out. It is said by Jiva Goswami that Vedas need very elaborate training to read or recite them. Otherwise, it is going to be filled with lot of mistakes. So one of the most important thing that in scriptures they have importance of accent. So there are three types of accent when one recites Vedas. They are called Udatta, Anudatta and Swarita. Udatta means very high scale. Anudatta means moderate. Swarita means very low scale. So these accents are very important. If with wrong accent someone has, because Vedic words are basically coming in the heart of Brahma from God, and they are not changed. So not changed doesn't just mean the letters are not changed. Even the type of accent, like few days back we were having kirtan, and I was singing in high scale. Hare Krishna, and one devotee beside me, Hare Krishna. I was irritated. If you are singing in low scale, just match the scale properly. It is creating disturbance. Odd lag raha tha sunne. So his voice is hard programmed. वो ऊपर भी नहीं जाते, नीचे भी नहीं जाते, वो एक ही स्केल में उनको आता है गाना. अब वो बगल में कान के पास गा रहे थे. So I was becoming disturbed. One senior devotee once he wanted to start a kirtan. And beside him I was sitting and I started, before he sang, I sang in different scale. He was disturbed. This is not my scale. You disturbed me. Now you only sing. So accent is very important. So this sage, बिचारे वो, he wanted to create a demon to kill Indra. His accent was mistaken, and he ended up creating a demon who will be killed by Indra. So therefore, Vedas are restricted to be recited by Dvijas, proper Brahmanas. That is also not available in Kali Yuga. Very difficult. So this is the first reason he says, Jiva Goswami, the Vedas are very difficult to understand. Second reason is that the entire Vedic literature is not also available to us right now. I had made notes about the extent of Vedas. So, uh, so it says Vedas, Rig, Yajur, Sam, and Atharved. Each of them has many branches. Like Rig Veda has 21 branches, Yajur Veda has 100 branches, Sham Veda has 1000 branches, Atharva Veda has 9 branches. So total 1130 branches. And each branch has 4 types of categories. One is called Samhita, another is called Brahmana. This Brahmana is not the Varnashram Brahmana, it is a type, a classification of the branch in the Vedas. And the third is Aranyakas, fourth is Upanishads. Now, if we see in this way, each branch has these 4 categories. That means there were total 1130 branch. If you multiply with that, there are 4520 units of books for properly understanding Vedas. So out of 4520 books that completes the Vedas, we at present find that 11 Samhitas are available, 18 Brahmanas are available, 7 Aranyakas and 220 Upanishads. So that is less than 6% of the entire Vedic literature that we have. So therefore, Jiva Goswami establishes that entire Vedas are not available. Understanding them is very difficult. And the third reason he gives that reaching a conclusion is most difficult, because all the sages, they have their own school of philosophy, and then he gives the explanation of the sixth system of philosophy. In that, Vedanta Sutra appears to be most authentic. Why? Because Vedanta Sutra is made compiled by none other than himself, Vyasdev himself. So therefore, he says that this is the most authentic on all of them. But even Vedanta Sutra is very difficult. Why? Because on Vedanta Sutra there are again different commentaries, and there is so much clash. So for us, therefore, the highest shelter is none other than the Puranas, and in Puranas, especially Srimad Bhagavatam, because it is the Amal Puran. It rejects all types of Kaitava Dharma. Dharma Projito Kaitavata Paramo Nirmat Saranam Shatam. Therefore, he says that first of all, reading these things require a lot of training. One has to understand Sanskrit and then Vedic Sanskrit. There are 2 types of Sanskrit. One is the local, another is the Vedic. Or local Sanskrit means in the Smritis, what we find is basically the conversational Sanskrit, which is easier for the reader to understand. And those description already satisfy what is present in the Vedas. So in one of the another place, Jiva Goswami states that Vedas are very cryptic. Cryptic means coded, and one has to find a guru to properly understand the meaning of every single verse there. Puranas, on the other hand, are descriptive, and they are coming in the form of easy conversation between guru, shishya, devotees. So many samvad we find in first canto itself. Sutta Goswami talking to the Saunakadi rishis, and then in the coming chapters we will hear the conversation between Narad Muni and Srila Vyasdev. Then Vidur Maitre samvad will happen. Then Yudhishthir and Arjuna will be discussing the events that are happening in Dwarka. And then finally, appearance of Parikshit Maharaj, Sukhdev Goswami. So many loops of conversation, one after another, we will find in the scriptures. And this is very easy to understand. And it is therefore, when in the first canto, he is telling this, the Saunakadi rishis, the Prayana Alpayusa Sabbhya, Kalasmin Yuge Jana Manda Sumanda Matayo. So Manda Mati is a very serious problem for the Kali Yuga people, because with less and weaker intelligence, it is very difficult to understand. Just when I read this vastness of Vedic literature, then it was written, then this entire vast Vedas were read not from books, they were heard and they were remembered. So that how intelligent the people of the previous yugas were compared to the population in Kali Yuga. Forgetfulness is at its peak. We forget in 2 minutes what is being told to us. Not even 2 minutes, in seconds, sometimes millisecond. So manda sumanda matah manda bhagya yopadhrita. Therefore, for us, Srimad Bhagavatam is the best shelter. It is teaching us in simple way how to love. It is teaching us about bhakti. It is teaching us about bhakta. It is teaching us about Bhagavan, and Bhagavatam itself is there. So bhakti, Bhagavan, Bhagavatam, bhakta, all these things are very very essential for us. So this verse, when we compare this with the previous sloka, we can understand how Suta Goswami time and again is comparing the worship of Supreme Personality of Godhead as transcendental compared to the worship of any other demigods who are influenced by the three modes. So, in different ways, he is explaining this. So, in this verse, he is telling this by telling that what to talk of not being influenced by the three modes, he is the source of these three modes. So, how can the three modes entangle the Supreme Personality of Godhead? We may at times face the contradiction, like Shiv Puran says, Lord Shiva is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And similarly, the Shaktas will say that Durga is the Supreme Energy, she is the Supreme. Devi Puran and all these things. So, how to understand? So, this is the way scriptures have been written. Vedas and Puranas, they, whenever we read particular Puran, it appears as if there is totally different type of conviction in one type of Puran and another type of Puran. When we read Puranas that are telling about worshipping Shiva, or sections of Vedas that are telling about doing yagyas, karma kanda, pujas, worshipping devatas, when someone reads that, they will feel as if worshipping a particular demigod is the ultimate thing. So I was searching, I was doing little research that why it is like that. Every Puran when we read, it is written there. This is the best of the Puranas. In fact, when we travel to spiritual places, dhams, देखिए तो Amazon का delivery है. So when we travel to spiritual places like Jagannath Puri, Vrindavan, Mayapur, every dham when we visit and we hear the glory of the dham, they say this is the best of the holy place. When I went to Tirupati 2023, I was reading about Tirupati dham and the Venkatesh and those Tirumala hills. So it was written Tirumala hills is the best of the holy places. Then once I was reading Navadvip Dham Parikrama book, it was written Navadvip is the best of the holy places. In fact, it was written that Navadvip is not just a dham which manifests in Kali Yuga, it was present in previous ages also. In fact, Prithu Maharaj did yagya in that place. In how it was written that a land which is surrounded by two holy rivers, Ganga and Yamuna. So what is that place? That is basically Navadvip Dham. And it was written that this is the best of the holy place. When we go to Jagannath Puri, this is the best of the holy place. All the holy place when we visit, they say it is the best. Similarly, in Vedas, when we see worship of particular demigod, when that worship will be described, it will be described with serious devotion, as if that is the ultimate thing. So why is it written like that? So the explanation given is that if so, this is not to discriminate, like Krishna is Vasudeva is the source of everything. He is the supreme personality, but that truth not every living entity is ready to accept. So Vedas are opening themselves to adopt everyone with different mindset. Now, when a particular person comes with his mindset, and if he is told that if you okay, you can worship Shiva because this is your stage, and he is not the supreme, so he will not worship Shiva. So he will lose the chance to make any progress. Therefore, for his faith to become established, and Krishna speaks that I do this in 7th chapter, 21 and 22nd number verse. Krishna says, Yo yo yam yam tanum bhakta shraddhayarchitum ichhati tasya tasya chalam shraddham tameva vidadhamyaham. He says, I am in everyone's heart as super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. And in the next sloka also, सतया श्रद्धया युक्ता तस्याराधनम् ईहते लभते च ततः कामान् मयि एव विहितान् हितान्. Endowed with such a faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtains his desires. But in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. So this is just like quite similar to that story of that comes in Bible, prodigal son story. So in that story, we find that a rich jamidar and his rebellious son. The rebellious son says that I want to be separate. Give me my share and I will leave. I will start my own journey. He leaves the father. Father gives permission, but he is very concerned. How will you survive and how will you live separate from me? So he enters finally into a very miserable state of existence, becomes a pauper, and finally he gets the awakening in his heart that I was staying very comfortably in the shelter of my father, and look what wrong decisions I have made in life. It is simply a foolishness. I will go back. I will go back, and he makes this decision. He comes back. So God is concerned about the living entities in this world. So in this story we find his concern, but let's say somehow it were little different. Like there is a king and his son who is going to be the prince. He becomes rebellious. Father, I want to be a separate king. I don't want to be here. So I want to fight. I want to start my own kingdom. The prince leaves. But here we find that this father is not just concerned. He secretly sends his minister to observe his son and make sure that his son is protected and he is not harmed, and somehow or other gradually his son can be brought back to his father. So over a period of time this prince struggles, and after a lot of struggle he meets the minister disguised himself, comes in the life of this prince as a rich person and tells that now you are a pauper, I will give you salary, you can work under me. And the prince agrees, I need money. And the minister behaves in such a way that this prince develops a lot of faith and love and respect for the minister. And out of his genuine respect, he works very nicely and later realizes, oh, you were not that person whom I was thinking I was. You are my father's minister. Now I recognize you. And the ministers become happy. So what happens? The minister finally brings that prince back to the king. So that is what is done by Vedas. That is what is done by Krishna in the form of so many types of faith who are getting sheltered in the form of so many types of demigods. When those demigods are not sent in the life of a person of that level of faith, where he finds that demigod, everybody wants to see a hero in the person whom he is taking inspiration from. So when that heroism is not present, he may not feel himself to dedicate to him fully. But when he dedicates him, that source of inspiration, he will gradually purify him. So Lord Shiva mercifully has taken in charge of the people who are in the mode of ignorance, and gradually helping them chant the holy name and come back to his own spiritual mind. Therefore we find Vaishnavanam Yathasam, that verse is there, 12th canto, let me find out. Yes, 12th canto, 13th chapter, 16th verse. Bhagavatam says, Nimnaganam yatha Ganga, Devanam achyuto yatha, Vaishnavanam yatha Sambhu, Purananam idam tatha. Just as the Ganga is the greatest of all rivers, Lord Achyuta, the supreme among the deities, and Lord Shambhu is the greatest of the Vaishnavas, so Srimad Bhagavatam is the greatest of all Puranas. So we find Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. Never we find that Saivanam Yatha Vishnu. And among the Saivas, Vishnu is the topmost Saivite. But we definitely find Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. So Shiva is identified in so many places. In the Rudra Gita, Shiva is glorifying whom? Shiva is glorifying worship of. He is teaching how to worship Narayan. And so many pastimes in Vrindavan, Shiva comes to just accept somewhere or other the darshan and service to Lord Krishna. The Shiva Gopi, we hear this pastime when we go to Vrindavan Dham. Then Shiva is seen to be giving Srimad Bhagavatam class. We read in the Chitraketu pastime how he is giving Srimad Bhagavatam Katha, where he is glorifying Krishna. So many pastimes. So there is no doubt that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But mercifully has given us such variety. It's like it's a part of the big tree. Lord Shiva is not separate from Krishna. He is connected. So if someone is coming in touch with Lord Shiva, he is indirectly coming in touch with Lord Krishna. But Sutta Goswami in this verse, what he is doing, he is making it very clear that Vasudev is totally transcendental. Because in the previous verses it was written that those who are less intelligent and driven by sense gratification and other desire, they take shelter of the demigods. But Vasudev is not affected by these three modes. The demigods and the worshippers of demigods, both are under the modes or influenced by the modes. But Lord Sri Krishna Vasudev is beyond the three modes, and this verse therefore establishes that how he is the source of all the cause and effect. The energies in the form of Mahamaya and the three modes, they are creating the cause and effect, and Krishna is creating these energies. So, Satyam Param Dhimahi. So, in the first sloka only, Janmadi Yasyatah Anvaya Hitaratas Charthe Swabhigya Swarat Tene Brahma Hridayadi Kave Muhyanti Yasuraya Tejo Vari Midam Yatha Vinimaya Trati Sarva Misha Dhamna Swena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam. So, Krishna is transcendental, so he is a God that is devoid of these modes of material nature or the effect of destructive time. And that Lord is the supreme truth. And it is He upon whom we should be meditating. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki.
Lord has created the energy for all. So, can you explain with the example how this deity has this statement?
क्या बोले?
The cause and effect is equal. So, can you explain with the example like how?
When we read creation, we understand this, that how the universe is created. In third canto, a detailed description comes. The unmanifested Pradhan and then Mahat Tattva, and all these 24 elements are created in their unmanifested state, and they become active by the energy of Lord Mahavishnu, and the Brahmandas take shape. Now these Brahmandas are also inactive. Garbhodakshay Vishnu enters, they become active. So these Mahat Tattva, these all things are the cause, and the effect is entanglement and the conditioned existence that we are having. And in this way, when we are living in this world, so many permutation, combination of these cause and effects are all pervading in this world. So the ultimate cause is Lord's desire, and the effect is living entities getting affected by either through the energies of Lord Mahamaya or Yogmaya. So here, what this verse is telling is, in this material world, whatever is moving around us, they are somehow or other the product of these 24 elements in the conditioned state, and this existence is ultimately caused by the energies of Lord. We know this, that the glance of Lord Mahavishnu is Lord Shiva, and that glance carries all the souls who are going to appear in this world, and the material nature is impregnated by this glance. So this is cause, birth and the life. So birth, paida hona, janm, it's like the cause. So living entities get appearance in this world. This appearance is caused by Lord's glancing. So in this way, this verse is telling. शिल प्रभुपाद की